Clothing is one of the most underutilized tools in the human toolbox. And just like any other tool, it can be used to enact change. I'm an anthropologist by trade, a very proud one, and anthropologists study humans. And we study how humans have evolved from past to present and even the future as well. And we pay attention to what has impacted humans and the way that they live, and how humans have impacted anything else. Part of anthropology is also studying tools. That's one of my favorite parts about anthropology. You get a geek out about these tools. A tool is a device used to carry out a particular function. Some of the oldest tools used by humans are something as simple as fire, stick, or a rock. But for today, I'm going to take an example of a hammer because that's something very familiar to all of us. A hammer can be used to build something and it can also be used to dismantle something. The best tools are multifunctional. Along with being an anthropologist, I'm also a fashion designer. And these two fields give me a unique lens to study clothing as a tool. Clothing has been used for over 170,000 years. And clothing is a tool that we use daily. It is something so common to our way of living that we often don't think about it as something that is important or something that can be impactful. To be honest, clothing is under consider. So consider this. Clothing is the second biggest polluting industry in the world, second only to agriculture. And because of this, 20% of industrial water pollution comes from textile.
In terms of social impact, over 70 million people in our world are employed by this industry. Between 1/6 and 1/7 of all the women in our world are employed by this industry, which arguably makes it the biggest contributing factor for the gender age gap. In terms of economic impact, if you are the factory worker in India, you earn $68 in a month on an average. In Thailand, $234 a month, and in Cambodia, $128 a month, and in Bangladesh, $68 a month. Now in Bangladesh, the specific example that's 48% of the livable wage. When we factor in clothing as something that connects to us environment, that economics and community around the world, shouldn't we consider it a bit more? We already participate in the global system, and this global system presents challenges but also incredible opportunity. For example, if you have never been connected with the world we are today, not just technologically or socially but physically as well. Within the garment industry, it is one of the few industries still today that depends on the human labor for production. And there is the potential that even single garment is made up of this industry could be touched by the 100 different peoples before it ends up in the store where you purchase it. There are an entire story to the garment before we even connect with it and see it in the store. This means that we are directly tied with the people throughout the entire world. Do something as simple as garment. We are tied to them and they are tied to us.
Consumer, we have created and fueled the demand where the entire population and the economies depend on us for their livelihoods. They are part of the system that need to be supported and sustained, like the people that make up the workforce, the environment that support it, and the economies that are affected by it. We as consumers have an impact on the system our demand made it what it is today. But if we use our demand to make the system work for us, but also the people that grow, process, dye, cut, and sew the clothing that we wear, I am going to give you 3 quick examples of positive effect places in the world where this solution are already working. Number 1. An economic solution is fair trade, and this is as simple as people are paid a fair amount for their labor and they earn certain reliable wages. A social effort is transparency, so transparency is where with this. It is open about how a product is made, and they want to engage you as a consumer. They want to educate you as a the consumer. About the production, we want to involve you, brand, go so far. Then on every tag on your garment that says what it's made out of and where it was made. There is a little code that you can go online to website. You can type in that code and you can see exactly where your garment has traveled throughout the world. Sometimes you can throughout the world. You can figure out who actually worked and touched on your garment environmental terms. They are entirely different underneath the fashion systems that exist. An example of this is a fiber sake. A fiber sake is where all resources that you need to produce your clothing comes from your local area, so that includes both human and natural resources with ease.
Also locally in a sustainable way that supports you like local economy, community and environment. These examples present ways in which you can make a positive impact. When you decide to purchase something new, in other words, when building from the ground up, use the hammer to build the structure that we want to see. Let's use our purchasing power to build and sustain the world that we want to see. But remember, there are multiple ways to use a tool. When we can also use for dismantle and then also use to rebuild again. We all already have the tools in our closets needed to rebuild. Remember, at any stage, we still have the capability of making decisions that reflects who we are and make positive impacts through our clothing. We all have clothing in our closets that are made in this global system. So this is what we can do now that we own them. Number one, we can launder lightly. The footprint that you use for laundering can be reduced. 82% of energy that is tied to clothing is directly tied to your care. It's after it's already made with its own hand in your home. Something as simple as washing your clothes in cold water or deciding not to use the dryer is really a simple example of what you do. Also pay attention to fiber content. So synthetic fibers, something like nylon or polyester, so these are man-made fibers that are chemically based in their processing whenever an individual synthetic garment is washed. Over 1900 synthetic plastic fibers are released into our waterways as pollutants. Something as simple as a garment bag that's specifically designed to collect those plastic fibers can prevent the pollution from the happening.
Materials you do. Something as simple as wearing natural materials, or this is my favorite, is wearing materials that need to be washed less, like hemp or wool. A second solution we can all do. Mending is mine. This is my favorite and a biased about it. Garments are currently made to fall apart. That's a part of the business plan to be honest. If something is designed to fall apart, then you have to return and you have to keep consuming. And it becomes a dependent cycle into which you are dependent on the supply. Once the garment falls apart, you have to return and you have to keep returning. These are my jeans. They are well plugged and it's invented over like 40 times. And I'm looking at the two additional holes that implemented later this week. I have had the jeans for 10 years now. Within that time, if I did not mend these pants, I should have consumed 20 pairs of jeans. Not just in my closet, but 20 pairs of jeans just to replace this one pair. I originally started mending these pants because I did not like shopping. Do not like especially jean shopping, and I was too lazy to go to the store at that time. Now mend them because I spend so much time and energy preparing and mending these pants and mending them. They are my most loved and favorite garments in my home. A third option, dispose responsibly. Indian terms of garments are thrown out and again into the land. When you do dispose of your clothing, donate it to resources that can soon reuse or sell their waste to other industries. The perfect example is just bringing your clothing to a second-hand store. But also pay attention to the waste that you already have in it.
30% of garments in our wardrobe are inactive. We don't even wear them. This means you can easily get rid of 50% of your clothing. Identify what you are not using and dispose in a way that can be reused. And the fourth option, decompose thoughtfully, think before you consume. Americans buy 20 billion pieces of clothing per year. To break that down, 68 garments per person and 7 pair of shoes a year. When you think about buying something yourself, is there a way I can meet this want or this need with something that I already have that can be altered, or can I borrow it from it? And when you decide to invest in a new garment, think about the impact that you want to get. If environmental is important to you, find brands that share those same values. Social responsibility is important that you will find brands that also want to support that. If you want to buy local, then buy local, or are your perfect environment with socially and economically sustainable garment. and currently not out there, and whatever style you personally like to wear, whatever size you wear, and exact shade of you that you like to wear. That's okay. We have to remember to keep it and slowly through our collective demand. We might increase the availability of wider range from responsible fashion designers and brands. Most importantly, find things that work for you. Many of these brands 40 times work for me. As of your jeans will look different than my jeans. Find what works for you and go for it.
Launder lightly meant mindfully, dispose responsibly, and recompose thoughtfully. Use the tool of clothing to deconstruct in a way that fits your values. So, I'm going to return to tools for a little bit because I just like talking about tools. The creation use of tools is an identifying characteristics of humans, but the capability to use tools is enhanced by other human trait. Humans use symbols and languages to develop shared beliefs and shared systems. When we use tools with the greatest potential towards our shared values and shared beliefs, we have the power to change the world. For example, fire was originally used to keep us warm, but also made it possible for humans to eat a wider variety of food and alter the state of physical materials. That the use of that one tool has altered the course of history forever. Let us see clothing not only as something to keep us warm and protect us, but a tool that is valuable and empowers us to create change. Clothing won't change the world, but the people who wear them will. Say right any claim. Every garment we own and use as an opportunity. An opportunity to start seeing how we are tied to communities, economies, environments around the world. One size does not fit all, but the solution that works for you. And the new actions reflect what you believe or what you want for our world. Thank you.